I've got my pottery shards all drawn up, and I'm going to create imaginary colour background to it. So I've decided to create my own colour background to make this look a little bit more of a contemporary image. So I'm going right up to the edge of the shards, including the area that will be a shadow, because the shadow is going to be painted on top. So I'm keeping the paint quite wet, and I'm working as quickly as possible to cover in the background. I'm just going to add a little bit of candle wax on some of them. I've drawn in where the shadow is going to go with pencil, so I can see that a bit more clearly, and I'm going to start painting that in a slightly deeper blue. So just mix up a stronger version of the background colour and work your way around. Now each one of these shards of pottery is not exactly white, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to paint over loosely to create an off-white effect as a base before I start painting in the pattern. This will make it look a little bit more realistic, and I'm painting on top of some of that candle wax, so as the paint is pushed to the side it will start to create a more realistic look on that pottery, so it doesn't look so flat white. So on the ones that are brown, I'm using a brownish tinge, and then the ones that are blue, a bluey grey tinge to that. And some areas are going to be darker sections than others. I'm working through each of the pieces now and using fine brush, and basically just enjoying replicating the pattern as much as possible. And don't worry that some of these waxed marks that you've put on are actually making the pattern break up a little bit, because that's part of it. We don't necessarily want the pattern to look really flat, we want it to look quite aged, so that's all part of it. So just enjoy this part, then just replicating the pattern and any lettering that you see. Just work through piece by piece. So the pattern doesn't have to be really perfect, and the way that I'm showing the texture is by using quite a dry brush. So now I feel that I've got enough of the background on, I'm going to work to get a little bit more detail in the pattern using some very sharpened pencil crayons. So I've sharpened my pencils as much to a point as I possibly can, and I'm going to work into each one of those designs like so, keeping it nice and soft as I'm going along. So just for extra texture, I'm going to do a little bit of splattering, and I've made a mask just to cover up the background here. So I'm mixing up a small wet pool of paint here, and I'm just going to splatter over a couple of sections just to add a little bit of interesting texture on it. I'm also going to use a little bit of sponging, just a small sponge here, again to just add a little bit of texture to the areas, to make it look a bit more distressed.